Gittin Daf continues the Gemara's discussion of get shechor, how you set an eved free. The Gemara now discusses a number of innovative ways of setting an eved free or revealing that an eved has already been set free. So we begin the last line in Daf Lamed Tes, where it quotes Rabbi Zera and Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Rashi. In the name of Rebbe, it's important that this is the name of Rebbe, who says that if a Eved marries a bas chayrin and his master is aware of it and he doesn't protest, or he allows it or even encourages it, then he's free. Now, that seems to indicate that it proves that he's been previously set free. Otherwise, the master would not have allowed him to marry a bas chayrin. It's forbidden for an Eved to marry a bas chayrin. So Gemara says, Rav Yechanan said, you have this from Rebbe, that Rebbe said this? How could that be? But I have a machlokes between Rav Meir and the Chachamim, whether something much more logical even works at all. What's that case? That's if an owner of a shivcha gives her kiddushin, he marries her. Now, if he's marrying her, obviously he himself would be doing an isser unless she's been set free. So you would think that that's a proof that she's been set free. Rabbi Meir says she's mekudeshes and it works, and the Chachamim say she's not mekudeshes. So I don't understand. How could you assume that if he's an eved, if a master is allowing his eved to marry someone, that she's automatically set free? And here we don't even see that that's clear if he himself is marrying her. So Gemara says, because our case is very similar to a case we're going to see soon about tefillin. We'll see that shortly, that the master is actually encouraging it. So here, it's that the master is actually marrying him off. If the master is going ahead and marrying him off, that proves that he must have been set free. So Gemara says, that doesn't answer the question. The master marrying him off is not better than the master himself doing the isser, the potential isser, the master marrying his own shivcha. It should definitely prove that the shivcha has been free. Gemara says, no, here this is a different problem. Here, he wrote in the shtar, he gave her a shtar kiddushin, and he wrote that this should set you free and marry you to me. The question is, does that work? But it clearly shows that she's not been set free earlier. There's no discussions whether she's been set free earlier if he actually writes in it that this is going to set you free. And there, the machlokes between Rabbi Meir and the Chachamim is if a language like that includes an actual get shechur as well as a shtar kiddushin at the same time. All right, now let's discuss the case we referred to earlier where the master is actually helping. This is Rabbi Shua ben Levi, who says that an Eved who puts on tefillin in front of his master must have been set free. Because an Eved has the halachic status of an Isha who doesn't wear tefillin. Because the mitzvah saseshes my grandma doesn't apply at night. And a woman is putter from a mitzvah saseshes my grandma, and therefore so is an Eved. So Gemara asks, we have a brisa that says that if a master borrows money from his Eved, or he appoints his Eved as the master of his estate, all things you don't do for an Eved. And the third thing is, or if the Eved puts on tefillin in front of him, all these, or if he gets an aliyah, 3 psukim in shul, all these you might think would seem to indicate that he's free. No, none of these indicate that he's free. So you see that it's not true. Putting on tefillin is not a proof. So Gemara says, Rabbi Bar Shila said, no. If he just put on tefillin on his own in front of the master, that's not a proof. But where the master put the tefillin on him, that he actually was involved and assisted, that is proof. And that's what we're referring to here when we say that it's a proof. Gemara quotes another similar situation. So this is a halacha brought by Rav Dimi and Rav Yechanan when he came from Eretz Yisrael. He said, somebody who says at the time that he died, he said, this shivcha that I have, you should not work her any longer. After I die, she shouldn't work any longer. So you force the inheritors to set her free. To write a get shechur for her, she becomes free, she becomes not an Eved anymore. So Rav Ami and Rav Asi argued, and they said, shouldn't you agree that this Eved's children remain avadim? What were they saying? They're saying he didn't mean that she should be set free. He just meant that they shouldn't work her so hard. They should change the work policies in the household and shouldn't work so hard. But that she should stay in Eved and that her children should be regular avadim. For sure, that's what he meant. So why are you saying that the Yoshim should set her free? That would take away the kids altogether. Maybe he even wanted her to not work any longer, but he didn't want her to be free. Then he would lose the kids. Now the Gemara quotes another similar thing. It says that Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda says in Rav Yechanan, somebody says at the time that he died, such and such my shivcha, she did good things for me, I want to do good things for her. So you force the inheritors to set her free if that is the only good thing she wanted. Meaning we say to her, what keres ruach, that's the phrase used, what pleasant experience would you like to have? And she says, I want to be set free. Nothing else counts. So then that's what you have to do. And the reason behind both of these is mitzvah l'chaim devrei meis. After he died, you have to keep his word. And if that's what he said, then that's what you got to do. Now, the Gemara's point here is that Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda is arguing on Rav Dimi. He told Rav Yochanan said, according to Rav Dimi, he didn't say anything about setting free. All he said was she should stop working, and Rav Ami and Rav Asi are taking issue with the fact that Rav Yochanan was saying that she should be set free for that. According to Rav Yehuda and Rav Shmuel, it was not about being set free. He said, he said, do what she wants. Whatever she wants, that's what she gets. But there was no tzad that the kids did not own her any longer and that the master meant to set her free by what he said. He was just saying, you guys, you Yorshim own her, and I want you to set her free if that's what she wants. But there was no discussion of her being free already. So now the Gemara introduces a statement of Amemar, which we're going to have two versions of, which we'll get back to these two versions of what Rav Yochanan said. So what did Amemar say? So Amemar said if somebody is mafker his eved, and he makes his eved ownerless, that eved cannot be fixed. He stays in eved, he doesn't belong to anyone, but he stays with the halachic status of an eved the rest of his life, because there's no one to give him a get shechar. Now according to the first version, he just said, you're free, and then he doesn't own him any longer, so he can't give him a get shechar. According to the second version, he said you're free, and then he died, and Amemar is saying that the children don't inherit the Isser, so the children can't give the get shechur. Either way, the question that was asked, the Gemara asks on this. So the first version, the Gemara asks that we had Ula quoting Rav Yochanan on the last daf, and Rechi bar Avin quoting Rav on the daf before, discussing if somebody's mafkir in Eved. And over there it said that they go free and they do require a get shechur, which implies that a get shechur is givable even after he's been hefker. So the Gemara says that. Amemar explains, no, what they meant was he required a get shechur and they can't get one. And therefore, like I'm saying, it cannot be fixed. According to the second version, we're only talking about where he died, the owner was mafker, then he died, and the inheritors cannot give the get shechur. So Mara asked, well, we just saw before that we quoted Rav Yochanan. We had Rav Dimi who quoted Rav Yochanan, who said that when he said that she shouldn't work any longer, the avodim have to set her free. So you see that the avodim still, even though the original owner, when he said the father, when he said she shouldn't work anymore, that sets her free. That's mafka her. Still, the kids have to go and finish the job. They have to give her the get shechar. So you see that even though she's been set free by the original owner, the kids do inherit the right to give her the get shechar. So Mara says, but we said, Rav Ami and Rav Asi argued on that. They said that it's not true. So Mara said they only argued because they said that the language of don't work any longer, he didn't mean to say set her free. He just meant to say she shouldn't work, but not to be free. But had he said clearly freedom, then Rav Ami and Rav Asi never would have argued, and the halacha that Rav Dimi is quoting Rav Yochanan would still exist, that the children would inherit the right to give her the get shechar, and that they should. So the Gemara says, no, he learns like Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda, who learned that he was saying a kairas ruach. He was telling them to do whatever she wants, but he himself did not set her free. And that's why they still have the ability to write the get shechar, because they still do inherit her in ownership and become the owners. The Gemara now quotes another similar exchange. The Gemara says it was a village. It was inhabited all by avadim. And these avadim had been sold by their Jewish owners to Ovdei Kechavim, or to a single Oved Kechavim, and then he died, that Oved Kechavim. Now the halacha is when a Yisrael sells an Eved to Oved Kechavim, the Eved goes free, or he becomes hefker at least. And here, the Oved Kechavim was also gone, so they were free to do whatever they want. So they wanted to become regular Bnei Chayrin, and they needed somehow to take the Isser Eved off. So they went to Ravina. Ravina said, go back to your original owner and let them each write for each of you a get shechur. So the Rabbanan said to Ravina, how could they do that? But they already became hefker. And the halacha is that somebody who is mafker is Eved, and then he dies, that Eved cannot be fixed, like Amemar said. So he said, I don't like Amemar, I like Rav Dimi. We saw Rav Dimi before, had said that you have the guy who said not to work the shefcha any longer, and the children could write a get shechar for him. So you see, even though he was mafker and he died, you could still have a get shechar be written for him. So they asked the same thing we said before. Rav Dimi was a mistake. We already said that you can't do that. So he said, no. Rav Ami and Rav Asi only said it was a mistake because when he said don't work her is not the same as setting her free. However, had he said set her free, it wouldn't be a problem. As far as what we're concerned about, that you could still write a get shechar for, you still are able to write a get shechar for her. So the halacha is like Ravina, that you could write a get shechar in a situation like this. And the Gemara brings another incident. There was an evet that belonged to two people. That is, he had a partnership owner. He had two owners, Reuben and Shimon. Now Reuben went and he was mishacher his half. He freed his half. So now you have an evet who is half free and half. He's half ben chayrin and half ed. And the halach over there is that we force the remaining owner to free him because he's stuck. He can't marry a baschar and he can't marry a Yisrael because he's half and half. So that other owner didn't want to lose his half. So he said, I'm going to fix this. He said, now the rabbis are going to come and going to force me to set him free. So he went and he gave it as a gift to his son who was a child, a katan. Now the child, the katan, can't set him free. So he figured he got out of it. So Rav Yosef, son of Rav, sent this situation to Rav Papa, and Papa said, we're going to get this guy. We're going to give him back on his head exactly what he tried to do. Here's what we're going to do. We know that kids like coins, so we're going to point an apotropos who could take care of this child's finances. And we're going to jingle a couple of coins in front of the kid's face, and the kid's going to agree to sell or to allow this evet to be redeemed with that small amount of money. The apotropos is not going to interfere because the original owner, the father, deserves it, and they'll set him free with that amount. And because he has an apotropos, he's able to do it even though he's a child. Okay, the Gemara moves on. The Gemara quotes a brayso that says that somebody who uses one of the following expressions works to set them free. If he says, I made my eved a ben chayrin, or asoi, he's made a ben chayrin, or behold, he is, harehu ben chayrin. All these situations it works and he is a ben chayrin. If he says, esenu ben chayrin, I'm going to make him a ben chayrin, that means he's setting him free with the following thing and saying, I'm doing it with this. Here, machlokes, chachamim say it is not kaina, and Rebbe says it is kaina. Now, it says, all these have to be written in a document. You cannot set an evet free verbally. These are all the languages that are written in the Shar Shichur, and that's what we're discussing here. The Gemara says, if someone think about a field, the Gemara says, if somebody says, I gave this field to such and such, or such a field is given to such and such, or he says that, Hare Hishlai, behold, it is his, all these work, and the field is given to such and such. If he says, I'm going to give it, meaning with this, here you have machlokes. Rameir says it's transferred ownership, and Chum say it's not. Rav Yochanan says all these can't be verbal, all these have to be written in a document. You cannot verbally transfer ownership of a field. Now the Gemara comes another right. So somebody says, I made, and this is again about an eved and a field. Somebody says, I made my eved, we have a different price about a field. I made them a ben chorin, and the eved, or if he was trying to give the field to someone, and he said, I gave my field to such and such, and that person says, no, I never received it. Both these cases, the evet or the receiver of the field says, no, I didn't. You did not. I was not set free, or I did not receive the field. So we don't believe him because we're afraid that the original owner gave it to him through zchus. That is, they gave it to someone else to be zocha in it, to acquire it on their behalf. And if he said, however, I wrote down a shtar and I gave it to him, to the evet, or to the person, or to the person that I want to receive the field, and the other one denied it. So here it says Baldin Kamedam. He's admitting he hasn't received it, and therefore he hasn't received it, and the original owner can take it back if he wants. Now, in both these situations, it could just be that the person thought he gave it, but the other guy never actually received it. Now, who gets to keep the fruits of the field? So Rav Chizda says the giver gets the fruits back, and Rabba says you have to put them in storage until Eliyahu comes and reveals what was supposed to happen. So there's no argument. Everybody agrees that if the original person that you gave it to is here, then it goes back to the owner. If he denies it, it goes back to the original owner. If his son is here and the original person that was supposedly received it is gone, now you have to give it to Eliyahu, or you have to put it in storage until Eliyahu could explain what happened, because we don't know if the father had received it and the son is not aware of it.